Something unusual just happened in the WNBA, and most fans completely missed how significant it was. Because this wasn't a viral tweet. It wasn't a former player chasing headlines. And it definitely wasn't another random social media debate. Instead, one of the most respected coaches in basketball quietly said something that instantly reignited one of the biggest conversations in the sport. And the person at the center of it all? Caitlin Clark. For months, fans have been arguing about whether the Indiana Fever are truly putting Clark in the best position to succeed. Every game seems to spark a new debate. Every post-game press conference creates another headline, and every visible moment of frustration gets analyzed from every possible angle. But when Cheryl Reeve entered the conversation, everything changed. Because when someone with multiple championships, decades of experience, and one of the strongest reputations in the game starts talking about point guard development, people listen, and what she said has fans wondering if the league's biggest star is being held back by the very system designed to help her thrive. But that was only the beginning. Cheryl Reeve wasn't even trying to start a controversy. At least that's how it appeared. During a discussion about one of her own young guards, Reeve explained her coaching philosophy in a way that immediately caught people's attention. She talked about trusting instincts. She talked about allowing talented players to make reads naturally. She talked about not overcoaching certain gifts that simply can't be taught. To many fans, the message sounded simple. If a player possesses rare vision and elite decision-making, sometimes the smartest thing a coach can do is get out of the way. That idea quickly spread across basketball circles, because there may not be another player in women's basketball who fits that description more perfectly than Caitlin Clark. Clark entered the professional game carrying expectations that almost no athlete has ever faced. She wasn't just a talented rookie. She was a phenomenon. She broke records. She packed arenas. She brought millions of new viewers into women's basketball. And perhaps most importantly, she played the game in a way people had never seen before. The deep shooting, the impossible passes, the ability to create offense from seemingly nothing. Those skills didn't just make her successful. They made her unique. Which is why every conversation eventually leads back to the same question. Is Indiana maximizing those strengths? And that's where things start getting complicated. As the season progressed, fans began noticing certain patterns. Some believed Clark looked less aggressive offensively than she had during her college career. Others pointed to stretches where the offense appeared stagnant. Every missed opportunity became a talking point. Every difficult loss created fresh criticism. Social media turned into a battleground. One side argued that Clark simply needed time to adjust. The other side believed the system itself was limiting her, and the louder the debate became, the harder it was to ignore, especially because visible frustration occasionally appeared during games. Body language became headline material. Bench reactions became viral clips. Normal competitive moments suddenly carried much larger meanings, and then things got even more interesting, because Cheryl Reeve and Stephanie White aren't enemies. In fact, they share a history of mutual respect. That's what makes this entire situation fascinating. When criticism comes from a rival, it's easy to dismiss. When it comes from someone with personal history and professional respect, it carries far more weight. That's why so many people paid attention. Reeve wasn't some outsider throwing stones. She's someone who understands coaching at the highest level, someone who understands pressure, someone who understands what it's like to manage star players while trying to win basketball games, which is exactly why fans treated her comments differently. They weren't hearing controversy, they were hearing concern. And then came the sideline moment everyone started talking about. If you followed the Fever closely, you probably know the clip. A moment of visible frustration, a quick exchange, a reaction that immediately exploded online. Within hours, fans were creating theories. Some claimed it proved tension existed, others argued it was simply competition. The truth? Only the people involved know exactly what happened, but that's rarely how sports conversations work. Once a clip goes viral, the internet fills in the blanks. Suddenly, a few seconds of video become evidence for dozens of different narratives. Every facial expression gets analyzed. Every gesture becomes important. Every reaction gets slowed down and replayed. That's exactly what happened.